we're fixing a retainer clip on a Ford E250 van, which is part of your linkage on your wiper blades. You're going to need yourself some 3/8 drive tools, a screwdriver, a T30 Torx bit. All that will be in the description box below, along with some tool reviews. First thing you got to do, get yourself a flathead screwdriver or your thumbnail, pull up on that little lever, and then you'll be able to pull the wiper arm straight off. Do the same to the other side, and then all you got to do is pop your hood. You can use a number 2 screwdriver or get yourself a setup like I've got here. It is a Thumbwheel, a 3-inch extension, and a bit socket to remove the 12 screws that is in the cover. Once those are all loose, go ahead and pull that foam out of the way. Then you'll lift up on the covers here, and you're going to want to disconnect the hoses that go to your washer fluid. Now you'll want to remove your covers and set them out of the way, and it gives you access to your wiper motor and your linkage assembly. You have got 3 8mm bolts right there. You've got the T30s right there. Go ahead and get the motor loose. Once you've loosened those up, you can go ahead and pull the motor out. You can unplug the wiring harness here. The next thing on the list is your T30, so that you can loosen up the 2 screws on each one of the mounts to get your linkage out. Whenever you pull these out, remember how they are positioned when you pull them out. Going to come out the passenger side through this little hole right here. All you got to do is gently pull it and it'll come straight out. Now I'm inspecting the linkage bushings here to make sure there's no further damage, and then we'll make our way up to the retainer clip, which is the problem. And somebody has gumped it up with some type of steel stick, something of that nature. We had to get off there.
Somebody looked like they put some kind of
steel
stick, something like that on there, so we knocked it off. Now essentially, the shaft of that motor slides through this. As you can see right here, that tiny little like pencil head right there, it goes all the way through this right here, and that ring on that clip is supposed to snap around that open ring right here on the shaft, and then that tiny little hole right there is supposed to lock around this little nub, and it's essentially falling off. So what's happening? So we're going to see if we can get it fixed up. If not, then he's just going to have to buy one of these new little clips right here,
it off here with a flathead screwdriver, or pull it with some long nose pliers, and then I'm going to start bending it to try to get it back into the form that it should be in. You don't want to bend this thing too much or break it, or you're going to have to end up replacing it with a new one. Now, as you can see here that we're looking at, it is bent out of shape quite a bit. It is setting up a little bit too high, too wide, and here is the part that is supposed to go around that ring right there on the linkage. Now, the shaft is stuck through here, and that little nub that sticks out the top should be locking into that ring to prevent it from sliding off. The 2 little arms on the lower half of that clip are supposed to go around that ring and around that shaft and lock it into place. That way it can't go up and it can't go down. As you can see here, I am putting it on there. I have tightened it up a little bit so that it will lock over top of it. If this is loose, any at all, it will slide off. It will unlock itself, and that's what we're looking at right here. Those 2 arms that you're seeing right there are the parts that are bent out of shape, and they're going to have to be bent carefully, nice and flat, and then pushed inward so it'll hold some tension when I put it on here. And of course, I am going to test it out before I put this back on the actual vehicle. Now I'm sliding the clip on after I have got it adjusted, and as you can see there, it does fit much tighter around the ring of the linkage. Now we flip it over here, here's what you're looking at. Those 2 little arms right there need to be sticking out. That way when you slide the shaft of the motor into this, then it will clip around the ring. So now we're going to go ahead and reinstall everything. We're going to put the linkage back in. We're going to adjust these and put them in position where they belong. And then we're going to take our T30 screws and put them back in place. Now once those are in place, we're going to go ahead and mount the motor back in position the way it needs to be, but we're not going to bolt it down quite yet because it's going to be pretty difficult getting the shaft back into the actual linkage right here. This is a view from underneath it there, and you will have slight problems because you do not have a lot of room to work. The linkage will most likely fall off several different times, and you're going to have to try to continue putting the shaft back inside the linkage and pulling up on it until you get enough leverage and force to push it through that clip that you've adjusted, so it will snap those two little arms around the ring on the shaft. Once you've got it snapped into place, you're going to want to move it up and down real good, give a few good tugs to make sure it's not going to fall off there. Then you're going to want to install your 3 8mm bolts and go ahead and re-secure the motor. Tighten them up. Plug up your wiring harness and then turn it on and test it out. As you can see, I have turned it on here to test it out. I will run it on high speed for about 10 minutes before I reinstall the covers. Everything has been working good, so I'm reinstalling the covers. I'm going to plug up my washer hoses so that I will get fluid back to the windows. Tighten up all the screws on the cover. I'm going to reinstall the foam around the front of it, and then I'm going to put my wiper blades back on, and I'm going to run it another 10 minutes with the wiper blades going to see that it works as intended. For more do-it-yourself videos, pop the clutch on that subscribe button. Thanks for watching.